My most memorable academic experience was when we got to go on a police ride-along for our justice class, and also the day when we went to court and we got to experience how the justice system relates to leadership firsthand.
My favorite Jepson memory was going with my Reimagining American Democracy class to the Virginia Museum of Fine Arts to see the Dawood Bay Elegy exhibit, which showed contemporary photographs of the Richmond Slave Trail by the James River.
In my Justice and Civil Society class, I was able to do a police ride-along where I spent about 4 hours riding with a police officer, and it was incredibly memorable to see what it's like from the police perspective.
I remember that moment in Dr. Price's critical thinking class when everything just sort of clicked. There was a moment of clarity after struggling with the material for a few weeks up until that point where everything just made sense. And moving forward from there, I felt like I could do everything in the class. That's what Jepson is, allowing you to struggle and then pushing you to a breakthrough.
Volunteering at Henderson Middle School, which is an underfunded Richmond public school, with some other students in my justice class has been one of my most memorable experiences. I've never had a volunteer component like that in any of my other classes, so being able to see the power structures firsthand that we were learning about in class was really powerful for me. And I think the experience opened me up to an entirely new level of empathy that I've been able to apply in my other Jepson classes, work experiences, and generally in life.
In my theories and models class, we were asked to study a group on campus, and we took the definition of group to be a little bit outside the box and decided to study the geese in the West Hampton Lake. And we determined that in the end, leadership in geese is laissez-faire.
I really enjoyed being a part of the McDowell Institute. As a fellow, the McDowell Institute is a group on campus that invites all majors and all disciplines to come together and have really thoughtful debates about everyday current affairs topics, politics, and economics. And I've really enjoyed getting to have dinners with different authors like Jonathan Roch and Gabriel Montaz.
In Dr. Hayter's Justice and Civil Society class, I was able to reevaluate the current impact that the Black History Museum and Cultural Center has and how its impact can be greater established within the city. This has given me such a purpose, and I now have a clear vision of what I want to do as an urban planner in the future.
I really enjoyed going to the Intercollegiate Ethics Bowl in Florida. It was great because I got to debate other schools on complex ethical issues that we had practiced previously in Dr. Hidalgo's class.
My most memorable experience at Jepson was getting the opportunity to study international law at Cambridge through the Jepson and Cambridge program with a lot of my other classmates. Through the program, not only did we learn a lot about law, but we also got the opportunity to take field trips into London to see how their court system works.
My most memorable experience was competing in the online ethics bowl with my ethics classmates this first semester. It was really the perfect culmination of everything that we learned and had been practicing in class. And it was a great way to finish my first semester as a Jepson senior.
My most memorable experience at Jepson was volunteering at a local middle school with Dr. Williamson's Justice and Civil Society class. It was a wonderful experience to apply what we were learning in the classroom and to meet lots of wonderful kids from different backgrounds.
Taking the Jepson elective class called How the Populist Narratives Threaten the Regional Stabilities. This class was taught by the former ambassador of the US, Ambassador Godfrey. I really enjoyed this class because I got to get the insights of the diplomatic practice, and it was also interesting because I'm an international student from Serbia, which is the country where Ambassador Godfrey served.
My most memorable experience in the Jepson School was doing hot seat debates in Dr. Flanagan's Ethical Decision Making in Healthcare course. This experience taught me how to argue both for and against complex issues, which I will use in my future career.
One of the hallmarks of Jepson is that there are so many classes that encourage you to step out of your comfort zone. One of those classes in particular is leadership ethics I took with Dr. Flanagan. This class really encouraged students to share their different ethical beliefs and opinions and have the freedom to do that in a classroom space, which will give us confidence to do that in the real world.
In my leadership ethics class, I loved how we were able to apply leadership theories from the classroom to real-world context. One of my favorite ways that we did this was when we talked about corporate responsibility and how companies do or don't have a political responsibility to engage in social contexts.
Critical thinking helped me become a more persuasive and effective writer, which has helped me in other college classes and in my communication skills overall.
I think two classes that challenge my perspectives the most are ethics with Dr. Flanagan and justice and civil society with Dr. Hayter. Both professors just have such fun personalities and have such a wealth of knowledge and so much passion about their topics. I left both of those classes with totally new perspectives and with a much more nuanced understanding of the world.
Well, I would definitely have to say leadership ethics applied in field with Professor Javier Hidalgo. That class exposed me to something known as ethics bowls and gave me the opportunity to preach what I thought was an ethical dilemma solution, and then compare what my personal beliefs were with other individuals from other schools around the countries, and have judges weigh in and have a huge discussion at these events.
My elective with Dr. Williamson, Reimagining American Democracies. There's just so much history in that time period of the civil rights movement that you just don't get as in depth in high school. And with all the guest speakers bringing in new and varied perspectives, it not only made me a better person, but a better thinker.
In Dr. Henley's Killers and Codes class, I learned how dark leaders manipulate their followers for evil ends. This can really help my career as a lawyer.
I would say critical thinking with Dr. Hidalgo. I think he challenged us to think deeper, and also it inspired my career and aspirations to be in sales, where I get to think critically and work backwards to help the customer.
Dr. Flanagan's ethics class really challenged my critical thinking skills. She'd always throw us a curveball that would challenge our assumptions.
In Dr. Hidalgo's leadership in an international context course, we would role-play historical leaders. Through this, we learned how to step out of our own perspectives and put ourselves in the shoes of historical leaders and learn their views.
Dr. Bazzaio's critical thinking class was the most challenging course that I've taken in the leadership school, but also the course that helped me grow the most. It was extremely fast-paced, and we also learned about symbolic logic, which was very interesting. It is basically turning sentences into logic and math.
A class that taught me to think differently is Leadership and Ethics, taught by Dr. Flanagan. And one of the things I loved about it is it taught me how to keep an open mind to other people's morals and what they believe is right and wrong, because there always is room for us to grow and change our own morals.
Jessica Flanagan's Leadership Ethics class was one of the most challenging courses I've taken at Jepson. Every day, the material made me question decisions that I've made in the past, decisions that I was currently making as a college student, and where I was going to lead my life in the future.
So in all of my Jepson classes, I really feel that I've been encouraged and challenged to say what I believe. But in my leadership ethics class, I actually had the chance to figure out why I believe those things.
One important principle that I have learned from the Jepson School is the concept of transformational leadership. I have really tried to embody this concept in my role as a French assistant teacher. I have found that approaching my students with a kind and empathetic approach really helps them to build their confidence and encourage their skills and learning in French.
I have applied my leadership skills in a plethora of ways. One example of that is through the Benchtop Innovations program, a university program where students take unique ideas and turn them into profitable consumer packaged goods. Here, I work with students from across the university, learn to pivot, embrace unique ideas, and our unique authenticity.
As the captain of the Ultimate Frisbee team, I've used what I've learned about transformational leadership at Jepson to help inspire my team on and off the field to be the best version they can be.
I think Jepson has helped me learn how to collaborate with people, have critical discussions with people that are different than me and think differently than me, and also empower people to be leaders in their own groups and organizations.
Some people believe that you can only be a leader or a follower, but that's a false dichotomy. Everyone has something to bring to the table, and that's what I've learned through my time as the editor-in-chief of RNAM and as the president of the Global Studies Honor Society, that it's my job to create an environment where everyone feels welcome and able to share.
In serving as a policy intern at a fair housing organization, I've applied co-creational leadership where I have valued open communication and collaboration.
In my leadership roles, both as the treasurer for the Black Student Alliance and my off-campus commitments, my favorite thing that I've used from Jepson is the distributed leadership model. It's really capitalizing off of the unique values and traits that everyone brings to the table.
In my Theories and Models of Leadership class here at Jepson, I learned a lot about follower and leader behavior that gave me the confidence to become the president of Women's Club Volleyball here at the University of Richmond.
I am the chapter president of Alpha Phi Omega here at the University of Richmond, and my Jepson education
has taught me not only the importance of getting into my community and volunteering, but also how to foster a collaborative and supportive organizational environment.
Jepson has taught me that leadership is a relationship between people, which has helped me develop my interpersonal skills.
As a captain of the women's lacrosse team, I use leadership principles such as ethics, group dynamics, and critical thinking when communicating and working with coaches and fellow teammates.
Theories about leader-follower dynamics and leadership styles has guided my interactions with people at internship sites, during volunteer roles, and in student organizations. And secondly, skills like critical thinking and interpersonal communication that I've developed through my classes has made me a more effective communicator.
As an executive board member of the NCAA Student Athlete Advisory Committee, I use skills that I've learned in my leadership classes, such as group dynamics and public speaking, to organize and facilitate group discussion.
On campus, I've held multiple leadership positions, and last summer, as an intern, I was one of the solutions development leads at my internship. What I've truly learned from Jepson that I've applied in all these positions is how to communicate and collaborate with people. Regardless of disciplines and backgrounds, Jepson has prepared me to know how to solve a problem, how to approach it from different angles, and understand people's perspectives.
I've gotten the chance to do a lot of research with Jepson, most recently my senior thesis, which looks at the way people interpret the world and how it's impacted by the laws our politicians make. I'm actually going to get to present my research at a conference in February in Denver.
I'm currently conducting research under an honors thesis, and it's titled Leadership as a Social Determinant of Health: How Leadership and Changes in Leadership Influence Black Stroke Mortality Within Richmond's 20th Century. And I'm currently applying to graduate programs in public health.
My Jepson honors thesis focuses on how social belonging in higher education institutions can be potentially impacted by the size and selectivity of the institution. And I plan on using my research in the future as a civil rights lawyer to examine how belonging can affect those impacted by the civil rights legislation.
I'm working on a research project right now about how different people interact with ChatGPT and the different traits that they associate with it, like gender, age, and voice.
I did my summer research on women in insane asylums during the 19th century, and through this process I gained a lot of knowledge in research techniques, which I then was able to apply during my summer internship at a nonprofit.
This past summer for my Jepson internship, I did research on measuring the quality of care in low and middle income countries for a local nonprofit. And now for my senior thesis, I'm studying the ethics of gender affirming care in adolescence and overall ways to approach risk in pediatric care, which ties right into my future goals to be a physician.
I have been conducting research with Dr. Von Ruden, looking at the gender differences in status and well-being. In my future career as a physician scientist, I hope to take these interdisciplinary perspectives to be able to apply the research findings to as many different types of people as possible.
I'm doing social sciences research with Dr. Hoyt, and it's on U.S. opinion on our foreign policy with Israel since October 7, 2023. And I'll be presenting my research at a research conference in February, and it's been really beneficial in helping me with my grad school applications, and I look forward to studying public policy in my future.
This year, I've been completing my senior honors thesis under the guidance of Dr. Thad Williamson, researching how residential segregation has impacted Richmond both historically and today.
I have had 2 research opportunities at Jepson, both with Dr. Pizzaio. One is an honors thesis studying 2 different murder cases and invisible leadership, and the other is on the cinematography of horror movies. I am hoping to apply both of these research opportunities to studying the entertainment industry in graduate school.
I completed my Jepson internship at the Long Beach Island Foundation of the Arts and Sciences in Loveladies, New Jersey. And I learned that leadership isn't a prescribed role, but an action that anyone can take.
I completed my internship with the Department of Justice, and throughout my internship I learned that leadership is about leading by example and completing all the small things correctly.
This summer I interned at Prove Identity, which is a tech startup located in New York City. There, I worked on the sales team and learned from my mentor what transformational leadership means.
I completed my Jepson summer internship at Barron Capital Management as a fund accounting intern. And during my internship, I learned a lot about critical thinking
what it takes to be a good mentor, and what kinds of leadership styles work in different workplace environments.
This past summer, I interned at Cushman & Wakefield, a commercial real estate firm in their Baltimore location. And what it taught me about leadership was the longer tenured men and women took me in and gave me an idea about the ins and outs of the company, teaching me about leadership.
My Jepson internship was with Voices Center for Resilience, a nonprofit who serves families, survivors, and responders impacted by 9/11, and it taught me about servant leadership and how important it can be to lead with empathy and lifting up others.
This summer I worked in Washington, D.C. for a public policy consulting firm called Millman Consulting, and I think the thing that I learned the most was the importance of transformational leadership by looking at my amazing bosses.
I interned at Just Salad last summer on their development team, and I really learned how transformational leadership can inspire an organization. I'm hoping to return there full-time as a real estate analyst this summer.
I did my Jepson internship at American Jewish Committee, which is a nonpartisan, nonprofit advocacy organization, and I was at their headquarters in New York, specifically in their interreligious and intergroup department. And my main project for the summer was creating a report and crafting recommendations about Muslim-Jewish relations on campus.
This past summer, I completed my Jepson internship at Sensata Technologies as an HR talent acquisition intern. There, I learned a lot about transactional leadership from my manager, and I hope to use these skills in my future career of recruiting.
I completed my internship last summer at the Suffolk County District Attorney's Office in Boston, Massachusetts, and I learned about the real human implications that leadership decisions that we make every day have on others.
I worked at Red PR this summer in New York, where I had a lot of hands-on experience working on the launch of a new skincare line.
This summer I interned at Alta Concierge in Los Angeles, which is a lifestyle and travel concierge firm. And I learned that when leaders lead by example and inspire their followers, truly incredible things can be achieved.
After graduation, I'm really excited to move to Baltimore, where I'll be working at Brown Advisory, an investment management firm. I'll be working as a portfolio analyst on their wealth management team.
I'll be attending law school in the fall, and I'm looking forward to applying the critical thinking skills that I learned in class with Dr. Pizzaio.
Last summer I had my Jepson internship at PwC in Denver, and this upcoming fall I'll be returning as an audit associate.
I did my Jepson internship at the KPMG Richmond office, where I received and accepted a full-time offer to work this fall as an audit associate in Richmond.
Next year, I will be moving to Charlottesville to attend UVA. I will be getting my master's at the Batten School in Leadership and Public Policy with a Merit Fellowship.
I will be joining CVS Health in their 3-year General Management Development Program. I thankfully received this offer after completing my Jepson internship with CVS Health this past summer, and I can't wait to get started.
I did my Jepson internship at Russell Reynolds Associates, a leadership advisory and executive search company in Houston, Texas. I was fortunate enough to receive a full-time offer, which I will be going to in Dallas this summer.
After graduation, I'm going to be working in New York City as a customer experience consulting analyst at Ernst & Young, and I'm excited to return there after doing my Jepson internship there this past summer.
After graduation, I'll be working in corporate finance on Chubb's reinsurance team in their Stanford office.
After graduating, I'm going to be joining Alpha Sites full-time. I actually did the internship in their New York office this summer. Absolutely loved it, and I'm very excited to return.
I did an internship this past summer, customer support internship at Bloomberg in New York City, and I'll be joining them in July for a full-time position, which I'm really excited about. But before that, I hope to just enjoy senior year and really soak up the last couple moments.